Multiply. 1/3 times 3/4. We could say this as 1/3 of 3/4. Remember from our translating section that the word of means multiply. To get an understanding of what multiplication means with fractions, I want us to look at this statement, 1/3 of 3/4, using a picture. Here is a picture of 3/4. Think of this as a candy bar that if I had the whole candy bar, I would have 4 pieces. But I've eaten a piece of it and I only have 3/4 of it left. So this represents 3/4. What is a third of this? What is a third of this? A third of this looks like that. This is 1/3 of 3/4. This is a picture of 1/3 of 3/4. What does this equal in terms of our whole candy bar? This is equal to 1/4. This is 1/4. So 1/3 of 3/4 is equal to 1/4. Now let's learn some rules for multiplying fractions so that we could do any problem that we might have that requires multiplication of fractions. I wanted to show you what multiplication of fractions means with a picture, but we won't always be drawing a picture in order to do an operation. Therefore, let's look at the rules for multiplying fractions. Multiplying fractions. When we multiply fractions, we multiply the numerators together to get the numerator of our answer, and we multiply the denominators together to get the denominator of our answer. So let's go back to our problem, multiply 1/3 times 3/4 using these rules. We will multiply the numerators together, 1 times 3 is 3, and we will multiply the denominators together, 3 times 4 is 12. We need to simplify this fraction because there's a common factor in the numerator and the denominator. The common factor is 3. So we can divide the numerator and the denominator by the common factor 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1, and 12 divided by 3 is 4. And we have our answer, just like our picture showed, that 1/3 times 3/4 is equal to 1/4. We could also do this problem another way. Before we multiply, we could see that there is a common factor in the numerator of this fraction and the denominator of that fraction. Before we multiply, we could divide out a 3 in the numerator and the denominator. We will show this like this. 3 divided by 3 is equal to 1, and 3 divided by 3 is equal to 1. I divided this numerator by 3 and this denominator by 3. If you divide a numerator by something, you have to divide a denominator by that same thing. Now we will multiply straight across. Our numerator 1 times our other numerator 1 is equal to 1. We'll multiply our denominators together. 1 times 4 is equal to 4. So again we get the answer 1/4. Multiply 5/6 times 7/9. We will multiply the numerators together and get 35, and the denominators together and get 54. The greatest common factor in 35 and 54 is 1, so there is nothing that we need to do to simplify this fraction. So the answer is 35 over 54. Multiply 4/7 times 5/9. We will multiply the numerators together and get 20, and we will multiply the denominators together and get 63. The greatest common factor between 20 and 63 is 1, so we do not need to simplify this fraction. Multiply 3/4 times 8/15. We will first show this by multiplying straight across. We will multiply the numerators together and get 24, and the denominators together and get 60. So we have 24 over 60. The greatest common factor of 24 and 60 is 12, so we can divide the numerator and denominator by 12. "24 divided by 12 is equal to 2, and 60 divided by 12 is equal to 5. Now let's say you didn't know the greatest common factor was 12, but you saw that 24 and 60 were even numbers and you knew that they were divisible by 2. So you can divide both of these by 2 and get 12 over 30. And once again you see that these numbers are divisible by 2. So you can divide the numerator and denominator by 2. And we get 6/15. 6 and 15 are both divisible by 3. So 6 divided by 3 is 2, and 15 divided by 3 is 5. Using the greatest common factor, we do this in one step, and doing it the second method, it might take a few steps. You know that you're finished when the numerator and denominator have a greatest common factor of 1. The only number that divides both 2 and 5 is 1. We will now do this problem by dividing out before we multiply. We have 3/4 times 8/15. We will look at the first numerator. It is a 3. In the denominators, do we have any factors of 3? This denominator does not have a factor of 3 because 4 is equal to 2 times 2. But this denominator is 15, and 15 is equal to 3 times 5. So this numerator and this denominator are divisible by 3. So we will divide this numerator by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. And we will divide this denominator by 3. 15 divided by 3 is 5. Now we will look at this numerator, 8. 8 is equal to 2 times 2 times 2. It's also equal to 2 times 4. So are there any factors in the denominators that are the same as the factors of 8? Yes, in this denominator we have 4. So 4 is a factor of 8. So we can divide both this numerator and this denominator by 4. 8 divided by 4 is equal to 2, and 4 divided by 4 is equal to 1. Now we will multiply our numerators together. 1 times 2 is equal to 2, and our denominators, 1 times 5 is equal to 5. We have the same answer whether we divide out before we multiply or we divide out after we multiply, as in the previous way we did this problem. Multiply 6/7 times 2/3. We will do this dividing out first. Notice we have a 6 in this numerator. 6 is divisible by 2 and 3. We have a factor of 3 in this denominator, so we can divide this numerator and this denominator by 3. 6 divided by 3 is equal to 2, and 3 divided by 3 is equal to 1. We have a 2 in this numerator and no 2's in the denominator, and we have a 2 in this numerator and no 2's in the denominator. So we can't divide out any more factors. So we will multiply straight across. Multiplying numerators together, we get 2 times 2, which is equal to 4. And multiplying denominators together, 7 times 1 is equal to 7. So our answer is 4/7. We would get the same answer if we multiplied straight across first and then divided by common factors. 6 times 2 is equal to 12. 7 times 3 is equal to 21. The greatest common factor of 12 and 21 is equal to 3. So we can divide the numerator and the denominator by 3. 12 divided by 3 is equal to 4, and 21 divided by 3 is equal to 7. Notice both ways we get the same answer. Multiply 12/15 times 10/9. We will first do this by dividing out first, before we multiply. We have a 12 in this numerator. Some of the factors of 12 are 2 and 6 and 3. We do have a 3 that's a factor of 9, so we can divide this numerator and this denominator by 3. 12 divided by 3 is equal to 4, and 9 divided by 3 is equal to 3. We have a 4 in this numerator. A 4 is 2 times 2, but we don't have any factors of 2 in either of these numbers, 15 and 3, so we aren't going to be able to divide out any more with this number. We have a 10 in this numerator. 10's factors are 2 and 5. We have a factor of 5 and 15, so we can divide this numerator and this denominator by 5. 10 divided by 5 is equal to 2, and 15 divided by 5 is equal to 3. There aren't any more things that we can divide out, so we multiply the numerators together. 4 times 2 is equal to 8, and 3 times 3 is equal to 9. We will do the same problem, but this time we're going to divide out just a little bit differently, and you will see that our answer will be the same. In our previous problem, we divided these two, numerator and denominator, by 3, but notice this numerator and this denominator also have a factor of 3. So let's divide this numerator and this denominator by 3. 12 divided by 3 is equal to 4. 15 divided by 3 is equal to 5. This 4 has factors 2 and 2, but we don't have anything that has a 2 as a factor in the denominator. Let's look at this numerator. This numerator is a 10, and it has factors of 2 and 5. So we can divide this denominator and this numerator by 5. 10 divided by 5 is equal to 2, and 5 divided by 5 is equal to 1. Now we can multiply across. Our numerators. 4 times 2 is equal to 8, and 1 times 9 is equal to 9. Notice we have the same answer. It doesn't matter the order in which we divide out. We just need to make sure that we are always dividing a numerator and denominator by the same number. Let's do this problem one more time. But this time let's multiply the numerators together and the denominators together without simplifying first. So we will multiply 12 times 10 and get 120. we will multiply the denominators together. 15 times 9, which is equal to 135. You will see that we have bigger numbers that we have to deal with, but that's okay. We need to find a common factor in the numerator and denominator. I will tell you that the greatest common factor of 120 and 135 is 15, but we might not have seen that. But if we divide both the numerator and denominator by the greatest common factor of 15, we will simplify this problem in one step. 120 divided by 15 is equal to 8, and 135 divided by 15 is equal to 9. But let's take a look at this again and see what factors we might see right away. When you have a 0 or a 5 in the ones place, you should know that these numbers are both divisible by 5. Any number that has a ones place of a 0 or a 5 is divisible by 5. So let's start by dividing the numerator and the denominator by 5. 120 divided by 5 is equal to 24. And 135 divided by 5 is equal to 27. 24 and 27 have a common factor of 3. So we can divide the numerator and the denominator by 3. 24 divided by 3 is equal to 8, and 27 divided by 3 is equal to 9. Once again, we're getting the same answer, 8/9. Multiply 7/9 times 5. 7/9 times 5 can be written as 5 over 1. This is how we write an integer as a fraction. We put a 1 in the denominator. Then we follow our rules for multiplying. Let's see if we can divide out anything. We have a 7 in this numerator, but we don't have any factors of 7 in the denominators. We have a 5 in the numerator, but we don't have any factors of 5 in the denominator, so we will multiply straight across. 7 times 5 is equal to 35. And our denominators, 9 times 1 is equal to 9. This is the answer as an improper fraction. We could also write this as a mixed number by putting the top number into the division house and divide by the denominator. 9 times what gets close to 35 without going over? 9 times 4 is equal to 36, so we need to go one less, so we'll do 9 times 3. 9 times 3 is 27, and when we subtract, we get 8. 8 is our remainder, and so it is our numerator, and 9 is our denominator. So 35/9 can also be written as 3 and 8/9. Both of these answers are acceptable. Multiply 4 over negative 11 times negative 3 over 7. We will multiply these fractions by multiplying the numerators together. 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. Negative 11 times 7 is equal to negative 77. We have the fraction negative 12 over negative 77. We can also read this as negative 12 divided by negative 77. Recall that a negative divided by a negative is equal to a positive. So our final simplified answer is 12 over 77, a positive 12 over 77. When we divide two negatives, we get a positive answer. Recall how to change a mixed number into an improper fraction. A mixed number is in this form, a whole number and a fraction. To change it to an improper fraction, we will multiply the whole number times the denominator and add the numerator in order to get the new numerator of the improper fraction, and we will keep the same denominator. Multiply 2 3/5 times 1/4. When we multiply fractions, we first must change mixed numbers into improper fractions. We will multiply the whole number times the denominator plus the numerator and keep the denominator to get our improper fraction. 2 times 5 is 10 plus 3 and then 10 and 3 is 13 over 5 times 1/4. Now we will multiply as we were multiplying fractions. We cannot divide out anything because we have a 13, which is a prime number, and there's nothing that has a factor of 13 in the denominator, and this numerator just has a 1, so there's nothing to divide out, so we multiply the numerators together and get 13, and the denominators together and get 20. So our answer is 13 over 20. Before we multiply, we need to change to improper fractions. We take the whole number times the denominator plus the numerator over the same denominator. And again, we'll do this to this mixed number, the whole number times the denominator plus the numerator, keeping the same denominator. 2 times 9 is 18. 3 times 3 is 9. 18 plus 7 is 25. 9 plus 1 is 10. So now we have the improper fraction 25/9 times the improper fraction 10/3. 25 has factors 5 and 5. 5 times 5 gives me 25. There is no factor of 5 in these denominators, so we can't simplify the 25. A 10 has factors of 2 and 5. There aren't any factors of 2 and 5 in the denominators, so there's nothing to divide out, so we will multiply across. 25 times 10 is equal to 250, and 9 times 3 is equal to 27. This is the answer as an improper fraction. We can change to a mixed number by putting the top number under the division symbol and divide by the denominator. What times 27 is close to 250 without going over? 9 times 27 is equal to 243. When we subtract, we get 7. 7 is our remainder, which becomes the numerator of our fraction part, and 27 is our denominator, what we divided by. So 250 over 27 can be written as 9 and 7/27. This is our answer as an improper fraction, and this is our answer as a mixed number. Both are acceptable. Multiply -4 2/3 times 2 3/5. Change this to an improper fraction, and recall we will put the negative on the outside, and we will simplify this part as an improper fraction, and then that improper fraction is negative. 4 times 3, so the whole number times the denominator, plus the numerator over the denominator. We'll change this to an improper fraction, the whole number times the denominator plus the numerator is the numerator of the improper fraction over the denominator. So here we get 12 plus 2 10 plus 3 so we have 14/3 here, a -14/3 times 13/5. Okay, so now we need to multiply -14/3 times 13/5. See if there's anything to divide out. We have a 14 here, which is a 2 times 7. There's no factors of 2 or 7 in the denominators. 13 is prime. It's only divisible by 1 in itself. Neither of the denominators have a factor of 13, so we will multiply straight across. 14 times 13 is 182. And 3 times 5 is equal to 15. We follow our rules for multiplying positive and negative numbers. We have a negative times a positive, so our answer is negative. This is our answer as an improper fraction. We can change this to a mixed number by putting the top number in the division house and the denominator outside. We'll look at 15 divides 18 once, and we subtract and get 3. Bring down the 2. 15 divides 30 2 times. 2 times 15 is 30, with a remainder of 2. The remainder is the numerator, and what we divided by is the denominator. So we can rewrite -182 over 15 as -12 and 2/15 as a mixed number. Here is our answer as an improper fraction, and this is our answer as a mixed number. For this problem, we will need to change the mixed numbers to improper fractions. The whole number times the denominator plus the numerator over the same denominator. The whole number times the denominator plus the numerator over the same denominator. Here we get 15 plus 1, which is 16, over 3. Here we get 8 plus 1, which is 9, over 4. For this problem, you see, we can do some dividing out before we multiply. We have a 16 in this numerator, and a 16 is a 4 times a 4. And we have a 4 in this denominator. So let's divide out 16 by 4 is equal to 4. And 4 divided by 4 is equal to 1. A 9 is a 3 times 3. So we can divide this numerator and this denominator by 3. 9 divided by 3 is 3, and 3 divided by 3 is 1. Then we will multiply the numerators together and get 12, and the denominators together and get 1. 12 over 1 is the same thing as 12. 12 divided by 1 is equal to 12. Evaluate 3/4 raised to the third power. This means we are going to multiply 3/4 3 times. So we multiply the numerators together. 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. And 4 times 4 times 4 is 64. So 3/4 to the third power is equal to 27 over 64. Evaluate negative 2/3 raised to the second power. Because the negative is inside the parentheses, we are going to square everything that's in here. So we're going to multiply what's inside the parentheses by itself. So notice we have a negative times a negative. When we multiply two negatives together, we will get a positive answer. So we know our answer will be positive. Multiply our numerators together. 2 times 2 is 4. Denominators together. 3 times 3 is 9. A negative times a negative is a positive. So our answer is 4/9. Evaluate 3 2/3 all raised to the third power. First we will change this into an improper fraction. The whole number times the denominator plus the numerator over the denominator. 3 times 3 is 9, and 9 plus 2 is 11. Then we will raise this to the third power. This means we will multiply 11/3 3 times. Eleven times 11 times 11 is equal to 1,331. 3 times 3 times 3 is equal to 27. So our answer is, as an improper fraction, 1,331 over 27. We can write it as a mixed number by putting the top number under the division sign. We ask ourselves, what times 27 is close to 133 without going over? And we get 4. 4 times 27 is equal to 108. When we subtract, we get 25, and then bring down the 1. 27 times what gets close to 251 without going over? 27 times 9 is equal to 243. When we subtract, we get 8. So 8 is our remainder, so it becomes our numerator, and 27 is our denominator. So this can be written as 49 and 8/27. This is the answer as an improper fraction, and this is the answer as a mixed number. Let's review formula for the area of a rectangle. The area of a rectangle is equal to length times width. Determine the area of the rectangle. The length is 5/6 inches, and the width is 1/3 inches. We will multiply the length times the width. 5/6 inches times 1/3 inches. We will multiply the numerators together. 5 times 1 is equal to 5, and 6 times 3 is equal to 18 inches squared. Area has square units. So the area of this rectangle is 5/18 inches squared. Let's review the formula for the area of a triangle. The area of a triangle is 1/2 times the base times the height. Notice the base and the height of a triangle are 90 degrees. We signify 90 degrees in this picture with this little square. The height and the base must be 90 degrees. Determine the area of the triangle. This distance is our base, and this distance is our height. So the area of a triangle is equal to 1/2 times the base times the height. We will need to change all of our mixed numbers to improper fractions. We take the whole number, 2, times 4, which is 8, plus 1, which is 9, and we keep the denominator. 3 times 5 is 15, plus 2 is 17 over 5. Now we will multiply 1 times 9 times 17. We get 153. 2 times 4 is 8, and 8 times 5 is 40. We will use our square units, so this is centimeters squared. This is the answer as an improper fraction. We can change this to a mixed number by putting the numerator inside of the division house and dividing by the denominator. What times 40 gets close to 153 without going over? 3 times 40 is equal to 120, and when we subtract, we get 33. 33 is less than 40, so we know that we have divided correctly. Our remainder is our numerator, and what we divided by is our denominator. So this is our answer as a mixed number, 3 and 33/40 centimeters squared.